There comes a moment in every man's life when he looks in the mirror and realizes something brutal. Nobody is coming to save him. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when things get better. The world doesn't pause for your weakness, your excuses, or your feelings. And the truth is simple. The moment you stop complaining, you start winning. The moment you take ownership, you become unstoppable. Life bends for the man who refuses to break, and breaks the man who refuses to grow. A real man understands that complaining is a luxury for people who aren't hungry enough. When life hits him, he doesn't run to the world crying for sympathy. He stands up, wipes the dust off, and says, "All right, try me again." Strength is not built in comfort. Discipline is not built in pleasure. Character is not born in ease. Everything you respect in great men came from struggle, pressure, sacrifice, and a fire that never dies. You want respect? You want power? You want a life that makes people silent when you walk into the room? Then you must earn it, not by complaining, but by conquering. A real man takes full responsibility because he understands that the moment he blames anything outside himself, he gives away the very power that could change his life. Responsibility is not about guilt. It's not about shame. It's not about saying everything is my fault. It's about recognizing that your life is the product of your decisions, your habits, your mindset, and your standards. It's about understanding that no matter what happened to you, no matter who hurt you, no matter how unfair life has been, the power to change the direction of your life rests entirely in your hands. That is what separates a man who rises from a man who remains stuck. A weak man looks at his circumstances and says, "I can't help it. This is just the way things are." A strong man looks at the same circumstances and says, "If this is where I stand today, then I will change where I stand tomorrow." Responsibility gives you control. Blame steals it from you. Every time you say, "I failed because of him, I'm broke because of them, I'm unhappy because of life," you are handing over your destiny to forces that don't care about you. But the moment you say, "Where I am is on me, and where I go is also on me," your entire future shifts, because now your results are not determined by the truth. Sets you on a path where nothing can stop you, because nothing is outside your control. A real man knows that complaining about circumstances doesn't change them. He understands that life doesn't bend for excuses, and success doesn't shake hands with self-pity. So he stops waiting for the world to change and changes himself. He stops hoping for an easier path and strengthens his legs instead. He stops praying that people will treat him differently and begins acting in a way that demands respect. Responsibility transforms a man from a victim of life into the architect of his future. There are men who will spend years blaming their childhood, their country, their finances, their relationships, their failures, their heartbreaks, anything and everything to avoid one simple truth: they are capable of more. Responsibility forces you to confront your potential and admit that you haven't been living up to it. It's easier to blame others than to admit you chose comfort over growth. But comfort never made a warrior. Comfort never built a leader. Comfort never created a man people look up to and admire. Responsibility, however, does. When you take responsibility, you begin to see every challenge differently. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can I do about it?" That shift in mindset is the difference between staying stuck and leveling up. Responsibility turns you into a problem solver instead of a problem collector. It makes you proactive instead of reactive. It forces you to get back up every time life knocks you down, because you no longer see failure as a dead end, but as feedback. If you caused it, you can fix it. If you built it, you can rebuild it. If you played a part in your downfall, then you can play a much bigger part in your comeback. A man who embraces responsibility becomes dangerous in the best way. He becomes focused. He becomes disciplined. He becomes relentless. Why? Because he knows his life is in his hands. He knows success won't magically appear because he wishes for it. He knows strength won't grow because he complains about weakness. He knows progress won't happen because he hopes for change. He knows that everything he wants, confidence, success, respect, power, wealth, discipline, purpose, must be earned through consistent action. Responsibility is the source of that action. When you take responsibility, you stop comparing yourself to others because their journey no longer matters. You stop worrying about their achievements because you are too focused on building your own. You stop envying their success because you understand that success is built, not given. And you stop fearing failure because you understand that every failure is another step toward mastery. Responsibility brings peace because it removes the chaos of excuses. It brings clarity because it reveals the path forward. It brings strength because it removes helplessness. Responsibility also teaches a man to value his time. You begin to realize that every wasted hour is a piece of your life you will never get back. You begin to protect your energy, your goals, your mindset. You stop spending time with people who complain, gossip, blame, and drag you into their negativity. You surround yourself with people who push, challenge, grow, and elevate. Responsibility makes you choose your environment wisely because you know environment shapes outcomes. A real man lives by one powerful truth. If it is to be, it is up to me. Not up to luck, not up to circumstance, not up to society, not up to anyone else. The moment you take responsibilities, the moment your life truly begins, complaining kills strength, because the moment a man opens his mouth to complain, he instantly broadcasts one message to the world: I am powerless. Complaining is the language of defeat, the anthem of the untrained, the habit of a man who has surrendered control of his circumstances. When you complain, you are telling life that it owns you. You're telling challenges that they are bigger than you. You're admitting you don't have the discipline or courage to deal with your problems. Complaining is the easiest thing in the world, which is why weak men do it constantly. Strong men replace complaints with action, because action is the only thing that changes anything. When you complain, nothing happens. Nothing improves. Nothing changes. You stay stuck exactly where you are. And what's worse is that every time you complain, you reinforce the belief that you're a victim. You begin to see obstacles as unfair instead of necessary. You begin to feel like the world is against you instead of understanding that the world is neutral. It doesn't care how you feel. Complaining makes you soft. It makes you passive. It makes you emotionally fragile. A man who complains cannot lead himself, much less lead others. He becomes a spectator in his own life, watching things happen instead of making things happen. But when you choose action over complaining, everything shifts. Action is momentum. Action is clarity. Action is strength. A man who takes action doesn't have time to complain because he's too busy building, improving, changing, and fighting for what he wants. Action turns a man from helpless into powerful. It breathes life into dreams that would otherwise die in silence. Every step you take forward, regardless of how small, is a step toward becoming a man who takes control of his destiny rather than surrendering it to circumstances. Think about it. Complaining never solved a financial problem. Complaining never built a strong body. Complaining never saved a relationship. Complaining never created a business. Complaining never made someone disciplined or respected. But action has done all of those things. Action is the weapon that separates the successful from the forgotten. It's the tool of the man who refuses to be controlled by fear or comfort. The man who takes action wakes up with a mission, while the man who complains wakes up with excuses. Every time you face a difficult situation, you have two choices: complain about it or act on it. The first choice keeps you trapped. The second choice sets you free. When you act, you teach your mind something powerful: I can handle this. That belief is the foundation of confidence. Confidence doesn't come from talking about what you will do. It comes from doing it. It comes from taking steps even when you don't feel ready. It comes from moving forward even when you're uncertain. Action builds a reputation with yourself. Complaining destroys it. People don't respect a man who complains because deep down they know he is not in control of his life. They see someone who reacts instead of initiates, someone who focuses on problems instead of solutions. A man who complains drains the energy of everyone around him, but a man who acts inspires others. He becomes the example others look to when life gets difficult. And here's the truth: men who act attract opportunities. Men who complain repel them. Life has a way of rewarding the man who gets up and moves, even if he starts small. There is a powerful psychological effect that happens when you stop complaining. You begin to see possibilities instead of obstacles. Your mind shifts from negativity to strategy. You stop focusing on what's wrong and start focusing on what can be done. You become solution-oriented, and that mindset alone can change the entire direction of your life. Complaining blinds a man. Action opens his eyes. Many men complain because they want sympathy. They want someone to understand their struggle, to validate their pain, to make them feel better without them having to change anything. But sympathy doesn't build strength. Sympathy doesn't fix your life. Sympathy doesn't make you better. Real men don't chase sympathy, they chase growth. They chase progress. They chase mastery. They chase resilience. They chase excellence. Sympathy feeds weakness. Action feeds power. Action demands courage. It demands discipline. It demands a willingness to do what other men avoid. That's why action builds character. It takes courage to say, this is my situation and I'm going to do something about it. It takes discipline to wake up early, train hard, work late, push yourself, study, practice, and improve. It takes mental strength to keep going when you're tired, when you fail, when you're stressed, when you feel alone. Complaining requires no strength at all, which is exactly why it creates none. When you choose action, you become a man of momentum. And momentum is a force more powerful than motivation. Motivation fades. Motivation comes and goes based on emotions. But momentum makes you unstoppable because once you start moving, staying in motion becomes natural. Action creates habits. Habits create discipline. Discipline creates identity, and identity shapes destiny. The man who acts consistently becomes the man who succeeds consistently. You must understand something deeply. Life rewards the man who does the work, not the man who talks about the work. Life opens doors for the man who moves toward them, not the man who complains that they're closed. Every accomplishment you admire in others came from action. Every strength, every success, every victory came from a willingness to do the difficult things without complaining. If you want your life to change, stop narrating your struggles and start attacking them. Stop discussing your limitations and start overcoming them. Stop repeating your problems and start solving them. The world respects a man who acts. The world listens to a man who produces results. The world follows a man who takes responsibility and moves with purpose. And that kind of man does not waste a single second complaining. Discipline is your only advantage because in a world drowning in distraction, inconsistency, and emotional weakness, the man who can control himself becomes untouchable. Discipline is rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. Most men wake up reacting to life. They check their phones before they check their goals. They respond to emotions before responding to responsibilities. They move only when they feel motivated, which means they hardly move at all. But a disciplined man does not wait for the right feeling. He creates the right action. He does what needs to be done, whether he enjoys it or not, whether he is tired or not, whether someone is watching or not. And because of that, he builds a life others can only dream about. Discipline is the great separator. It's the trait that divides mediocre men from exceptional ones. It's the dividing line between wishful thinking and real measurable progress. Every strong body, every sharp mind, every successful business, every powerful discipline, every admired leader, behind all of them is discipline, not motivation, not luck, not inspiration. Discipline, the daily decision to act in alignment with your goals rather than your mood, the refusal to negotiate with excuses, the commitment to stay loyal to your future, even when your feelings are loyal to comfort. The truth is simple. The man you want to become is already waiting inside you, but discipline is the bridge you must cross to reach him. Without discipline, every dream rots into regret. Without discipline, potential turns into wasted time. Without discipline, men grow older but never grow stronger. They talk about what they could have been, what they almost became, what they plan to do one day. But one day never comes for a man without discipline. He stays trapped in cycles that repeat year after year because he lacks the one skill that could set him free. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about structure. It's about crafting your life intentionally rather than drifting through it accidentally. A man with discipline becomes predictable in the best way, predictable to himself. He knows that if he sets a target, he will pursue it. If he commits to a routine, he will follow it. If he sets a standard, he will uphold it. He gains the ability to trust himself. And self-trust is one of the most powerful advantages a man can have, because once you know you can rely on yourself, you stop fearing anything. Discipline also builds confidence in a way that nothing else can. Real confidence doesn't come from hype or compliments or external validation. It comes from the quiet, knowing that you keep your word to yourself. Every time you choose discipline, waking up early, training hard, studying, working, grinding, you reinforce the belief that you are a man who can rely on himself. And that kind of internal confidence is unshakable because it wasn't handed to you. It was earned through sweat, sacrifice, and repetition. Most men fail, not because the goal is too hard, but because their mind is too soft. They're addicted to instant comfort. They're allergic to discomfort. They want results without struggle, rewards without sacrifice, progress without pain. They want to enjoy the lifestyle without doing the work that lifestyle requires. Discipline destroys that mindset. Discipline is the antidote to softness. It conditions your mind to endure discomfort, to push through resistance, to reject the easy path. It trains you to understand a powerful truth. Nothing worthwhile is supposed to feel easy. When you choose discipline, you begin to operate differently. You become intentional with your time, your focus, your habits. You realize that every hour wasted is an hour stolen from your future. You no longer tolerate laziness. You reject excuses the moment they enter your mind. You become aware of how destructive comfort can be when it becomes your default setting. You stop indulging in habits that weaken you. You stop spending time around people who encourage mediocrity. You start shaping your environment instead of letting it shape you. Discipline also protects you from emotional chaos. Most men make decisions based on their moods, which means their lives swing from high to low like a roller coaster. But disciplined men make decisions based on principle, not emotion. They act based on commitment, not convenience. They do the right thing, not the easy thing. Emotions become background noise rather than drivers. You might feel tired, but you still work. You might feel unmotivated, but you still grind. You might feel unsure, but you still take action. That level of control is rare, and it's what creates results others can't comprehend. There will always be days when you don't feel like doing anything, when your mind tries to negotiate, when your body craves rest, when excuses sound reasonable. But discipline teaches you a crucial lesson. Your feelings don't decide your future. Your actions do. The days you don't want to show up, but show up anyway, are the days that build greatness. Anyone can work hard when they feel good. Only disciplined men work hard when they don't. The man who masters discipline becomes dangerous because consistency amplifies everything. 1 day of work changes nothing. 10 days of work changes little. But 100 days, 300 days, 1,000 days of disciplined action, those are the days that transform a man into someone unrecognizable from who he used to be. Discipline compounds, and compounding is the most powerful force in the universe. What begins as small steps becomes unstoppable momentum. Discipline is your advantage because most men will never cultivate it. They'll always choose the path of least resistance. They'll always follow their feelings. They'll always wait for motivation. They'll always choose comfort over growth. And that is exactly why the man who chooses discipline rises above everyone else. In a world where everyone is distracted, the focused man wins. In a world where everyone complains, the disciplined man advances. In a world where everyone quits, the disciplined man conquers. In the end, everything you want comes down to one truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to push you. And no one is coming to build the life you dream about. It's all on you. And that should not intimidate you. It should empower you. Because the moment you accept that your life is in your hands, you become unstoppable. You stop waiting, you stop hesitating, you stop doubting, and you start acting with purpose. The world respects a man who moves with intention. Life opens doors for the man who knocks with force. Success bows to the man who refuses to quit. Remember this: strength is built in silence. Victory is earned in struggle. And greatness is forged in moments when you could have complained, but instead chose discipline. Every day you wake up is another chance to become the man you were meant to be. A man of responsibility, a man of action, a man of discipline, a man who never complains. Stand up, tighten your focus, straighten your mindset, and walk into your future with power. Because real men don't wait for life to change. They change it themselves.